Just a reminder before today's programme that you can check out the previous week's videos here on AMTV, including the Ident Review Extra, the most recent episode covering English, the Now Review, the most recent episode of that covering Now Dance 89, the Ident Review, where we took a look at the Channel 4 2017 Idents with their Jolly Giant, and a special video looking at a huge cassette haul we acquired with over 200 cassette tapes. And now, here on AMTV, it's that time of the week again. Your questions answered in the Sunday Catch-Up. Hi there guys, it's Martyn here, and welcome to another instalment of the Sunday Catch-Up, episode 64. And there's loads of references I could make there. 64 Zoo Lane, when I'm 64, I could go on. But before we get into your questions, just a few things. So, for the Ident Review Extra, we're going through our BBC Two journey of the 90s. Now, there are sadly some sequences where still, to my knowledge anyway, from what I've looked at, there is no video available. So in the event of those, we'll be skipping over them. So this is like the BBC Two pop art ident being the key example. I think that should have been next actually, but we'll have to skim over that. Also, the Christmas idents. So the Christmas idents through the 90s, I'm going to leave them for now because I think nearer the time to Christmas, it would be nicer to do those. And in a way, I've already covered them in the Ident Review before, I believe, the BBC Two Christmas ones of the 90s anyway. So you can already go and check those out. We're just going to be cracking on with the mains and the specials. Anything with no video we'll have to ignore, and the Christmas ones we'll be jumping over as well. Also, I wanted to give a little shout out to a few creatives friends of mine. So some of you know that I'm a professional actor. Obviously, with what's going on, this is killer for me. Thankfully, I've got other sources of support and income, such as this, for example. But a lot of people don't, and I think it's useful to help our fellow creators and give them shout-outs. So I want to give a shout-out to Rebecca Fithian, who is a very dear, close friend of mine. You can check out her YouTube channel. She's been uploading amazing covers of all sorts of songs. She's got the most wonderful voice, so I've probably put a screenshot above this. So please go and subscribe to her and check out some of her videos. She also runs a theatre company called Blue Balloon Theatre, which I was a guest on their Instagram Live this time last week. So if you go on Instagram and type in Blue Balloon Theatre, you'll be able to give them a follow. Also, I want to give a shout out to some original writing. So Lauren, who's appeared on this channel, some of you may remember, has written an original short story called Cracked Earth. And it's really brilliant. I'll try and leave a link in the description so you can go and read it. It's a really great piece of writing that, strangely, even though it isn't about what's going on, has a lot of power and impact with what's going on. And there's also an option to donate just to give her a hand, so I'll leave that description in the description. That was a good link, Adam, well done. Also want to give a shout out to some of my friends who are based in Liverpool. So big shout out to Ellie and her new theatre company, The Bee Collective. You can give them a follow on Instagram, just search The Bee, as in the letter, The Bee Collective. That's making theatre for women, which is really important. And also give Turntable Theatre a follow by my friend Chris, or Tomo, as I know him. They've been making great work. They've made a project called Four to the Floor, which is like about the history of dance music, which is obviously a passion of mine. So if you want to give all those a follow on their Twitter, their Instagram, go and do that. And also one final one on the YouTubes. My friend Jess has recently started a YouTube channel with her first video titled The Secret of Happiness. And it's a really sort of inspiring, positive video. Highly recommend you check that out. Just search Jess Pritchard or The Secret of Happiness and she should come up. But those are the shout-outs, and before questions, I just want to do a quick story time because I find this really fascinating. So I was doing a clear-out, as a lot of us are doing, and I came across a boatload of VHS tapes that I had in our store cupboard, but these were unmarked. These were used for recording purposes, so I've been sifting through them, and it's, standard bits here and there. But this tape was interesting in particular. So this had an episode of Doctor Who on it, but not Classic Who. This had an episode of Modern Who, specifically the episode Blink with the Weeping Angels from David Tennant's time. So this is 2007. Yes, we were still using tapes to record in 2007. But it was really fascinating. I watched the whole thing, and to watch Blink on a VHS tape makes it even more eerie than it already is. And oddly enough, after Blink, this also has the final of Any Dream Will Do, where Lee Mead won the competition, if anyone remembers that. So this is actually, first transmission tape from the 24th of, what was it? What was the date? 24, no, not 24, the 9th of June 2007. So this thing's nearly 13 years old, and Honestly, it's so cool watching new Doctor Who on an old cassette tape. There was another Doctor Who cassette as well that had the first transmission run of Fear Her. Fear Her is less exciting, but having Blink on first transmission cassette, I think that's pretty cool. But with all that in mind, let's now get into your questions. So we seem to have loads of comments this week, so I might have to dash through some of these. So, DJF Vlog says, do you have any Ministry of Sound CDs or vinyls? I don't actually. I've never been that into the Mystery of Sound collection, though I might have to start. 2, best dream you ever had? Oh, probably where I won £1 million, a millionaire, or something like that. And 3, what was the first CD you ever bought? Oh, well, my first few CDs were sort of like gifted to me, birthdays and Christmas and stuff like that. First CD I bought, I think it was a Neo CD. I think it was the Year of the Gentleman CD from 2008. Calvin Jack says, what was the first Now album you ever bought? Well, the first Now album I owned was Now 70, but that was a gift. Again, the first one I bought with my own money, I think, was Now 76, and I did that digitally. I know, I was a traitor. I didn't even buy it on CD. 2, what is your favourite Now 100 Hits album? Probably the Power Ballads one, or even the Forgotten 80s stuff. And 3, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire original versus reboot? I mean, the reboot's great in so many ways. I'm glad it brought it back, but the original's got to win, hasn't it? Junior the Borough fan says, have you ever watched 2.5 Men? No. Santa Claus North Paul _03 says, 2, favourite biscuit? I love a chocolate digestive. Tea or coffee? Tea! I'm British, it's tea! Variety TV says, and what are your thoughts on ITV Kids Creates? And would you do an Ident review on the Idents? I didn't know they'd done a Kids Creates. That must be a new thing. I will definitely look into that, and yeah, maybe there's enough to go on. Video Vlog says, can you do an Ident review on Nick Jr. 2 UK Idents from 2006 to 20? Again, with all these Ident review requests, guys, provide me a link to them and I'll look into them. And I think from there, just because there's a lot to get through, if questions are Ident review requests, I'll acknowledge them, I'll read them, but I'm not going to read them out here. But again, if you want to request any idents, try and provide me a link to a YouTube video or a video to a site that has those idents, and I'll be sure to look into it. Favourite Marvel characters? I mean, Spider-Man's my favourite superhero, but bar him, probably Iron Man. And 3, favourite Xmas song? It may be a depressing one when you listen to the lyrics, but it's Do They Know It's Christmas, the Band-Aid song. Kyle Wright says, have you been to Italy? I have not been to Italy. Favourite food and drink from McDonald's? It's got to be 20 chicken nuggets and a chocolate milkshake. And favourite Disney movie ever? That's either the original Beauty and the Beast or the original Lion King. It seems to flip on a basis. Match says, what do you think of Disney changing 20th Century Fox to 20th Century Studios? I mean, it makes sense because Fox is like a different brand entirely, so it only makes sense that Disney would want to change that to something less affiliated with it. Andrew Hardy says, what's your favourite BBC Two Halloween night ident? I like the one that's based on Psycho, like with the shower curtain and the knife, just because I like my old horror, so a Psycho reference is fantastic. Hassan Junaid says, why the Sunday catch-up started at 8 PM? I don't know, really. I mean, all my videos have been at 8 PM for so long now, I guess I just thought that was a good time. And when going back to normal in the UK? Who knows, my man. LJ Merritt Production says, would you do a Rain Man review video? I could do. The trouble with doing review videos on movies, I find, is that I'd always want to include clips from the movie, and I've done some movie reviews before, but then the copyright system often bans them from being seen, so that's what puts me off. 2, do you think they should do a Super Millionaire special in the UK? I think they should, like have a £10 million thing, but I doubt any company's going to put forward that money. We don't have those sort of resources like the Americans do, so I'd love to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. And 3, where would the first place you would go after all this ends? Probably back to like the northwest, like Liverpool, Manchester, see a load of my friends there because I miss them. Joseph Adams says, do you think Boris Johnson will ease what's going on? I don't want to say the word for demonetisation. Well, I don't know. He's in a precarious position, of course, as anyone would be, but I don't know when he's going to ease it. 2, do you remember Psycho Dad on the YouTube McJuggernuggets? Never seen it. And 3, do you know that there is a rare Doctor Who VHS called Revenge of the Cybermen from 1983? I mean, it was the first Doctor Who VHS released. I didn't know it was rare, but yeah, I knew about it, but I don't need it. Tyrese Malcolm says, have you ever been to Disneyland in Florida? Yes, I have, a few times. Most magical place on earth. Media Lover says, have you met any Doctor Who stars? Yes, mainly at a Comic-Con I went to in 2014. I've met Colin Baker, Paul McGann, Jenna Coleman. I've met a bunch of stars from the classic series like William Russell I met, Annika Wills, loads and loads of people. And 3, did you know that there's a Michael Jackson musical on the way? Is there? That's not Thriller Live? Oh, well, I'll look forward to that when it's out. Zachary Gatt says, will you do a brief history of Jerry Anderson and all of his creations? It's Jerry with a G, not a J. Possibly. I mean, I already did Thunderbirds, so possibly. 2, do you watch Futurama on Sky One? No. And can you give Duncanville a watch on all 4? I looked into this, mate, and I just don't think it's my thing. Sorry. So Nathan Simpson has linked me a program called Bug Alert from 1996. I will check into that, Nathan. Thank you. Max Jackson, favourite Charles Dickens novel? It's got to be Christmas Carol. I mean, I've been in the show about 3 times, so it's Christmas Carol. 2, have you ever watched My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? No, I haven't. And 3, thoughts on last year's live-action remake of Disney's Aladdin? Again, like all these live-action remakes, I didn't think it was necessary to be made at all, but I must admit I haven't seen it. I do own it on DVD as part of the Time to Believe collection, but I haven't seen it yet. LFC Gamer says, as a new subscriber and being interested in nostalgic with BBC 1 and 2 idents from 97 to 2001, what's your favourite from the era? I mean, probably the BBC 2 stuff. As much as I like the balloon, the BBC 2 idents were just more interesting, so stuff like Woodpecker and like the Venus flytrap, stuff like that. 2, who is your favourite Liverpool player of all time? Mine is Steven Gerrard. Oh, favourite Liverpool player. I mean, I've only really become a fan of like Liverpool FC in like the last few years, so I can only go on what I know, but probably someone like Mo Salah. Like the elation during the whole World Cup thing was mental. And 3, which YouTuber or YouTubers inspired you into making your own channel? Well, I was just inspired by like random videos of people doing collection videos originally, but I'd say people like James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd, or Norm Caruso, the gaming historian. So like those sort of people who looked into the past, that was sort of my inspiration. Time Lord Master 108 says, did you watch The Big Night In? And if so, what did you think? And was I worried that they'd play a part of the Amarillo video with a very bad man? I watched bits of it, I didn't watch the whole thing. I thought it was a nice idea and it raised a lot of money for charity, which was fantastic. The Amarillo thing, wasn't worried because I knew they wouldn't do it. 2, do you miss BBC Choice and BBC Knowledge? I must admit I never had much experience with them myself as a kid. When I was growing up around that time, we only had the basic 4 channels. We didn't have any of the extras like Choice or Knowledge, so I can't really comment on any nostalgia about missing them. And 3, do you remember the kids' show Come Outside? Yes, I do. I saw the odd episode of that. I thought it was cute. You know, it was fun. It was good for its audience at the time, but I was never like an avid watcher. Move S22 says, have you seen Friday Night Dinners and Wild Gold? Also, do you like Mr. Bean? I've not seen those 2 programs you mentioned, and yes, I do like Mr. Bean. I think his type of comedy is universal. It's sort of that Charlie Chaplin-esque, you don't need words, it's all about the physical movements. Anonymous says, what is the music you use when you're reading the questions on the Sunday catch-up? So it's a CFAX theme. I think it's called Chilling Out. So music used to play on CFAX, and that's what I use. 2, do you like F1? If yes, who's your favourite driver? I must admit I've never really been into racing, all that sort of stuff, although I do want to watch Le Mans 66, or Ford versus Ferrari for the Americans out there. But no, I'm not really into F1, has to be said. Favourite Top Gear episode? Well, again, I never really watched Top Gear that much. I saw the odd special, but I couldn't pinpoint a favourite episode, I'm afraid. Larcham Film says, do you think the Moonpig original logo is scary? If it's what they're using now, then no, but I haven't. If there's one before that, I haven't seen it. And do you have Aardman Classics DVD VHS from 2000? It's funny you say that, because literally a few days ago I did pick this up on DVD before I'd even seen your question. There was someone in our neighbourhood doing like a front yard sale, obviously with social distancing rules, with all money going to the NHS, and they had a DVD copy of Aardman Classics, and it had the booklet inside as well. So yes, I do now own Aardman Classics, but it's just so mad that you comment that like as I picked it up. Tim Goodwin says, do you like the band Blossoms? I haven't listened to Blossoms, although I think someone, it might have been yourself actually, compared them to the 1975, and I do like them, so I might have to give Blossoms a listen. Garfield Pikmin Fan 911 says, what do you think of the Lego movies, and what's your favourite Disney animated movie of the 2010s? Well, the first Lego movie is a near masterpiece. I absolutely adored it. Haven't seen the second part, so I might need to get around to that. And my favourite animated Disney movie of the 2010s, probably The Wreck-It Ralph or Moana. Matteo Ballara says, what's your favourite BBC One and BBC Two ident of all time? Favourite BBC One ident, probably the Computer Originated World from the 80s, and favourite BBC Two is probably Paint. RWL 2012 says, what's the point of Now 105? You're just saying that you don't like pop music. Well, I mean, if you don't like it, that's fair enough, but there'll be a lot of people who will like it and who will buy it, myself included. So yeah, we can argue what's the point, but music's subjective, man. As is a lot of things, I suppose. The Carl John 1 says, when did you first start doing the Sunday catch-up? Well, the first episode, actually, was sort of around the summer of 2017. I think I made about 5 or 6 and then stopped, because at that time I didn't have much time to focus on them properly with what else I was doing. And then I think I left it, I think it was about maybe, I'm trying to remember now, like 6 months, and then in like spring 2018 I picked them back up. So there's been breaks along the way, but the first episode was sort of summer 2017. And 2, did you know that now Did Year release is called the Millennium Series? Yes, I did, but they seem to be very expensive to pick up these days. I don't know why, but I am looking into trying to get them. And 3, do you have Netflix? Not anymore, man. Just, I've watched all I need to watch. KGS says, have you heard of Nickelodeon's Rugrats? Yeah, of course I have. That was one of my favourite shows growing up, and I know you want me to do an overthinking on some of them, but again, it's the copyright, man. I keep saying it's the copyright. It means they don't get seen much, so it's less of an incentive to do it. And 2, what is your favourite Simpsons episode? That is a good question. There's so many potentials. I did have a few on DVD that I watched religiously. Probably like the one where Mark Hamill's the guest star. That was a key favourite for me. And 3, have you ever heard of the Lazy Town We Are #1 memes? Yeah, they were like the biggest meme of 2016. It's a shame that Stefan Karl passed away. It really is. He was a funny, great man. But yeah, I know Lazy Town and I know the meme. Christopher Kenyon says, have you seen The Black Cauldron and what's your favourite Disney animated classic? Favourite animated classic, either Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King. Have I seen The Black Cauldron? No. Flipfish Productions says, favourite Channel 4 comedy? Probably The In-Betweeners. I remember growing up with that, so In-Betweeners. Lindsay Thomas, favourite Doctor? Peter Capaldi. 2, could you do a retrospective on Ivor the Engine, please? Ivor the Engine, that's a very niche series, but yeah, I'd look into Ivor the Engine. Yeah, why not? I'll look into it. And 3, have you seen the 50s movie Them? No, I have not seen Them. I am aware of them, but I haven't seen them. 3am says, anything you're excited about for Now 105? I mean, there's nothing like I'm jumping for joy about, but I like the fact they're still releasing despite everything that's going on, even though it was pushed back a bit. So I'll be excited to pick it up and see what's on it. And 2, apartment or house? Oh, if I could choose, man, a house. A house any day. Jordan Howell says, what is your favourite SpongeBob SquarePants episode? The training video, obviously. 2, do you remember what Walt Disney Classics or Disney Pixar films you would ever own on VHS as a kid? I owned loads of them as a kid, so that I had Lion King on VHS, I had Beauty and the Beast, I had Hercules, I had Tarzan, I had some of the older ones, like I had Dumbo, I had Snow White, Pixar stuff, I had Toy Story 1 and 2, I had A Bug's Life, Monsters Inc. I had loads of them, man. Shame I still don't. Did you have either Sky Digital or ITV Digital pay TV services when you were a kid in the early 2000s? No. I remember we had them on like holiday, but we didn't have them at home, and I remember begging my parents to get them because I wanted like the kids' channels, but they held off, and in hindsight it was probably a good decision because I wouldn't have done anything apart from sit and watch the telly. Ash22 says, have you read Martyn Lambine's book about idents? No, but I have seen it. It's quite expensive. It's on Amazon. It's like 30 quid, but I might look into trying to buy it. And 2, what album would you recommend from the 1980s? There's so many. All Night Long by Lionel Richie, Bad by Michael Jackson, Actually by the Pet Shop Boys, Watermark by Enya. There's so many great 80s albums and so many different styles, so there's a lot to recommend. Okay, so next up, Doctor Who fan says, favourite Shakespeare play? Ooh, favourite Shakespeare? Probably Romeo and Juliet. I know it's an obvious one, but it's the one I've seen the most versions of and the one I enjoy the most. So, good old R&J. Favourite Doctor Who season from the 70s? Season 7, the first of the 70s. John Pertwee's first season. There's just something very different, very gritty, very, in a way, adult about season 7, and I really enjoy it. So check it out if you haven't seen it. And 3, favourite Muppets movie? I haven't seen them all. I've only seen the original one from the 70s, and I've seen the remake. I have got a box set, but I haven't seen the rest of them yet. But out of those 2, I really enjoyed the remake. It was a very wholesome movie. Chat says, what specifically is your favourite ident of all time? My favourite ident of all time? I mean, probably one of the BBC ones, like I said, like the Computer Originated World or Paint. They're just so iconic. And my least favourite ident? Oh, there's so many potential options. Just, I haven't got a particular one, but just anything that's like really boring or doesn't tell me anything or is just very generic without a purpose. Anything like that. Instant worst list. The original being says, have you been getting automated bots saying you've got great videos, keep it going, love your content? Yeah, I've seen them, but I find it best just to not pay at any heedance. Like, it's not causing any great harm, but I know they're bots, so yeah. But thanks for letting me know as well, original being. Super Jamie124 says, what is your favourite BBC One rhythm and movement Ident. Oh, out of all of those, I really like the calm ones like ballet, like where they're in the theatre by the sea. Really nice. And have I heard of the ITV TV drama quiz? Yeah, I kind of made a video on it, so you can go and have a look on it. I noticed some of you have commented about the Ident Review Extra, like Chestnut Bloke you have, for example. In terms of what I've got planned after the BBC Two 90s marathon, I don't know. I haven't really thought ahead, but there's a slew of potential ideas, so I'll keep you guys informed as we go. Dora the Explorer says, have you been to Italy, Germany, and Edinburgh, King's Heath, and King's Norton? Okay. Out of all of those, I've only been to Germany and Edinburgh. Toffer, worst cover song. Oh, God, worst cover. Oh, have you ever heard E17's version of West End Girls? Terrible. Really terrible. 2, do you think Top of the Pops is relevant in modern times? I think it could be, but I think it's hard when you're competing with streaming services and getting artists in for a live show. I think it can be done, it would just have to be done very carefully. And 3, any country in the world you haven't been to that you'd like to go to? Italy, I'd love to go to Italy. Croatia, I'd love to see Croatia. There's loads of places. Greece, Cyprus. Oliver does a Welsh word and stuff. Sorry, Matt, I just don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to get it wrong. Do you like fish and chips? Yeah, I'm British. iPhone or Android? Android. Sorry, iPhone users. Gotta be Android. Digi the Robot says, which of the BBC Two personality twos are your favourite? Again, I really like the 40th anniversary one just because of the whole throwback element, so probably something like that. If you had the ability to bring back any past quiz show, which would it be and why? I want to bring back the old version of 1 versus 100 that was like the mid-2000s. That was really engaging for me to watch as a kid, so probably that. Do you think You've Been Framed needs a reboot? Is it still going on? I mean, if it's still going on in its present form and people find it funny, great, but I thought YouTube would have usurped it by now with all like the fail videos and stuff. And those are all your questions. That was a marathon, but we got there. This is probably going to be the longest Sunday catch-up ever, like with me talking and all the questions. But thank you for asking them. If you've got any more questions, please leave them in the comments down below, and I will answer them in next week's Sunday catch-up. As always, thank you very much for supporting the channel, as you've been doing. We are on the road to 9K, and we recently crossed 8.5K, so we're nearly at 9K. We're getting there. Let's try and get there before the end of May. When this video drops, we've got exactly 4 weeks to do it, so 4 weeks to get another 500 subscribers. I hope we can do it, so please keep supporting the channel as you have been doing. Keep sharing it around, all that sort of stuff. Like and share the video, subscribe if you're new, or if you've been watching and you haven't subscribed, please do. And until the next one, I will see you guys next time. Well, that does bring us to a close this evening on AMTV. We do hope you enjoyed the programme, and please do keep your eyes open for brand new content that will be coming to you soon. Until then, have a very good week, and we hope that you join us again soon. Good night.